Books Don't Mix with Water. A Percabeth Alternate Universe Fanfiction Part 9. Percy Jackson at the mall was not a very rare sight. But Percy Jackson alone at the mall without any friend buffers or fans? Now that was a rare sight. He sighed, ducking away from a group of maybe 12-year-old girls that wore shirts that had his face on it. It would be very uncomfortable if they found him. He was a 17-year-old guy, after all. Having a bunch of young teenage girls wanting to marry him was more than just unsettling. It was straight up illegal. Or would be illegal. He was turning 18. Percy shuddered at the idea of them trying to smother him in hugs. And since it had happened before, then there's little left to the imagination. He hid behind a bookshelf. Apparently he found himself in Barnes & Noble. "What are you doing here, Seaweed Brain? I know for a fact that you'd rather die than read." A teasing, snarky voice came from behind. Percy felt his heart jump in excitement, and a smile was brought to his face. "Fancy seeing you here," Percy said. Annabeth smiled at him. It almost made him want to fall to the ground completely. She really was pretty. Did she know that, or was she just one of those girls that hadn't realized it yet? "Are you going to answer my question first? Or will you still crouch like a tiger about to pounce?" Annabeth asked. "Oh, right." Percy was much taller than the bookshelves, so to hide, he had to almost be down onto his knees. Stretching out straight, he smirked at Annabeth's clear annoyance of his height. "I was here to get my mom a gift. Her birthday's coming up, and I saw a bunch of my fans, so I bolted," Percy said, doing air quotes while saying fans. "Ah, so you ducked into the last place and people would ever think to find you in?" Annabeth said with a laugh. "For say, that was one of the prettiest sounds on earth." "Actually, I was kind of coming here already. My mom's a huge fan of this book series about the Greek god Poseidon, and I was going to get her the next 3 books, he explained. Annabeth raised a brow at him, shocked that a booky and studious person could have raised a delinquent like Percy. See, too, the delinquent is said in a loving manner. Your mother seems like she had good taste, Annabeth said after a second. "Yeah. "Want to come with me as I find them?" Percy asked. The blonde pursed her lips to a side. Why not?" It didn't take long for Percy to find the books, perhaps more squinting than necessary, but hey, not the trawling hours Annabeth would have expected Percy to act in an opposite environment like this. His grace around books mildly surprised her, since he had been so careless the first day they met, though that was what led them to meeting, and Annabeth could admit, and maybe just her head, she was rather glad that happened. And she got more books, so woo! "So what's new with you? You're always too busy to chat in class," Percy asked, handing books to the cashier with a smile. The blonde girl shrugged. "Honestly, not much. At most I talk to Jason more, and my friends are very annoying," she said, rolling her eyes, when talking about her very persistent friends, namely Luke and Selena. "Really? When do you see Jason?" Percy asked incredulously. "Oh, he's in my lunch sometimes," Annabeth replied offhandedly, thinking of Piper's growing squeals when he came round. It was then her and Selena's relation was obvious. Aside from that, they were complete opposites. She grabbed the bag of books that Percy had not been paying attention to and thanked the cashier. Making her way out of the store, she really hoped that Percy was following her, or else this would be a very awkward situation. Good God, she was basically walking out with his mother's books. That was very weird indeed. "Those are really heavy. I can take them back," Percy said from behind her, easing her mind of the previous worries. He slipped his hand under her arm and through the loops to take the bag. I would say thank you. But this is your bag," Annabeth said with a smirk, and Percy clicked his tongue. "I guess you're right." "I'm always right." Percy skidded to a halt, making Annabeth notice since they were walking side by side, rather than one in front of the other. "Want to get some ice cream?" he asked, pointing to the pop-up shop. She looked like she was thinking for a second and then said, "Sure." Percy ordered 2 scoops of cotton candy and Annabeth took a scoop of mint. "You really didn't have to pay for me." Again, she protested, but Percy sent her a winning smile. "I wanted to," he said, ignoring more of her pleas to allow her to pay him back for this and last time they had a frozen treat together. They found a table nearby and after setting the bags down on the floor, dug into their food. Annabeth's phone rang. "Sorry, I have to take this," she said, frowning at her phone. Percy nodded for her to pick up the call. "What is it?" "Okay, whenever did you hear that?" "Never." "No. I'm not doing that." "Okay, I'm at the other mall right now." "Hush, shh, shh. I'm not leaving." "I ran into a friend and I'm with them, so I should probably be off this call with you." "I'm leaving. Bye." Sighing, Annabeth sat back down, looking kind of annoyed. "Bad call," Percy said, spoon still in his mouth. She cracked a smile at his childish antics. Kinda. My friend's just really adamant on getting me to go to homecoming," she sighed. Percy raised a brow at her in surprise. She wasn't planning on going? "Why don't you want to go?" he asked. Her gray eyes took a circle. "Oh no, not you too," she moaned, and Percy sent her a coy smile. Homecoming was extremely fun. Or at least it was for Percy. The music was basic and a little too clean to have fun, but it didn't matter. The punch was always spiked, so meeting new people was always a ride. Percy could run around and start conga lines. People from all grades joined and sung. He could sing at the top of his lungs or record hundreds of videos of Leo singing "Party in the USA." I don't know. I guess I'm not a very big school party event type person. I like to stay secluded, Annabeth said, leaning back. Percy smirked at her. "Wow, I could have never guessed," he said sarcastically. She sent him a slight glare that he brushed off with a smile. Come to think of it, the rest of her friends never asked her exactly why she didn't want to go. They just tried to get her to go. It was sweet they wanted her to be involved in normal teenage stuff, though a normal life was kind of already out of the picture for her at this point. But it was nice that Percy wanted to understand why she wanted to stay away. "You know, you seem like the type of person that would end up on the homecoming court," Annabeth said mindlessly. No way. I don't like that idea. Dancing to impress the crowd during the pep rally? No thanks. Percy shook his head. Annabeth laughed at that. Percy always struck her as a person who would suck up to that kind of attention. Maybe he wasn't. "You know, my friend's on it," she said idly. Percy just nodded. "You know, you should just go. Even if just for a minute. Who knows? Maybe me and my friends will set up fireworks outside the windows." He grinned wildly. That certainly made Annabeth burst into laughter. I think that's actually more of a reason to stay away," she said when she finally caught her breath. "Nah, I think you'd have fun." She raised a questioning brow at him. "I didn't have fun my freshman year," she stated. "Are you still a freshman?" Percy asked her, cornering her logic. Her silence was enough to make Percy triumphantly smirk. Screw him and that cocky expression. Just saying, you should go because I want you to." Annabeth playfully frowned and cradled her chin between 2 fingers. I don't think that's quite sound reasoning," she teased. The black-haired boy in front of her pulled the most childlike move and pouted. Annabeth's teasing expression made Percy's heart jump, in a way that he didn't like and very much liked at the same time. "If you do go, you should wear a blue dress," Percy said, tossing the empty container his ice cream used to occupy. The girl in front of him tilted her head to one side in a silent question. "It's my favorite color," he explained. Annabeth laughed a bit. God, it was like bright music. It was genuinely concerning how easily she had enamored him. I should wear it because it's your favorite color? I doubt I'll even see you if I went, she said with a laugh, finishing off her ice cream. Percy shrugged, even though the idea of missing her in a pretty blue dress suddenly saddened him. Even if you don't see me, I think you look nice, he said as smoothly as he possibly could. She raised a brow at him as if she couldn't believe the words coming out of his mouth. I sure hope I'd look nice if I go, she said. You will. No. I have no doubt you will, Percy said without thinking. His face immediately started heating up and he turned away quickly to keep her from seeing the red on his face. Alas, that made him miss the same red flush on her cheeks as her brain processed what he said. You know what? If I do go, I'll be sure to find a blue dress, Annabeth said, feeling herself flustered. Was he even aware of what he said? Percy was just looking at a TV screen in a store so offhandedly, she didn't think he even realized the impact of what he said. He probably didn't. He's kind of really, really oblivious. Awesome, he said, turning back. You know, I probably have to ask my friend for help, though. I'm not one of those girly girls types that knows what looks good or not, Annabeth said. The idea of actually going again was cementing in her mind thanks to this mildly annoying but unknowingly sweet black-haired boy in front of her. Oh my god, if Selena was here, she'd blow her gasket. Wow, and here I thought you were the floral type, Percy said sarcastically, a teasing smirk playing on his lips. She playfully rolled her eyes at him. Ha ha, very funny, she replied. Percy flashed her a cheeky grin. He began to talk about homecoming, what he had done in years before, what he wanted to do this year, and even though she'd planned to leave the mall in about 20 minutes ago, Annabeth decided that perhaps listening to Percy talk excitedly, eyes shining, was well worth the extra social interaction. If it isn't the homecoming queen herself, a voice drawled. Turning her head towards the familiar voice, Annabeth saw that blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy that made her heart thud just a little too fast. Luke, hey, she said, smiling brightly, her cheeks stained pink. And King of the Waters. Nice job. There really was no competition with you surfing. Percy didn't know whether or not he should have been annoyed that Luke had come. On one hand, he had taken Annabeth's attention away, which did make sense since they were such close friends. And on the other, Luke was a pretty cool dude, so Percy didn't want to be annoyed at him for just walking around a mall and seeing a friend. Thanks, Percy replied politely. You know, we could use a guy on you on the football team, Luke started, but Percy cut him off with a laugh and head shake. Appreciate it, but football season conflicts with preseason training and swimming. Can't miss that or Coach will be riding me, he said. Luke nodded. Well, I tried, Luke said, smiling widely with all his pearly white teeth. Admirable work ethic, he added after a second, earning a laugh from Annabeth. Work ethic? I don't think we're talking about the same Percy. As far as I know, he has none and is a champ procrastinator, she teased him, even going as far to pat him on the head. He really wanted to explode from joy, but of course he wouldn't. That would be a terrible idea. Aw, you know me so well, Percy cooed at the blonde, who playfully rolled her eyes at him. So, Annie, homecoming, Luke started off, but she groaned. No doubt Selena sent him up for this. Nope, we are not having this conversation. No, she groaned. No, actually we are, Percy said brightly, getting a glare from Annabeth. What? You said if you went, you'd get a blue dress for me, Percy said. There was clear pride in his voice from that accomplishment. Luke looked incredibly impressed, and for a rather good reason, too. My God, is there anything you can't do? Luke gaped at him. A shy smile appeared on the green-eyed boy's face, and he shrugged offhandedly. I think she just loves me too much to say no, he joked. Annabeth cracked a smile, but thought about the words for a second. Why was it that she could never say a complete no to him? Or at least when it came to things that she found less than pleasant but not out of the question. Even when Luke begged and pestered her she stayed firm. Only this wild surfer that she had just met was able to make her change her mind. You seem to think that I like you a lot more than I actually do, Annabeth teased. Percy gasped dramatically. Are you saying that you don't like me? He said in a mock offended voice. The blonde-haired girl clicked her tongue a couple times before saying a flat, Sure. That was followed by dramatized offended noises from the surfer. Percy gave up his charade when Annabeth's laughter was trickling away, eyeing Luke, who was snarkily chuckling along. Anne, you should probably head home. It's already like 4:30, the senior said, making Annabeth stop to check the time. She cursed under her breath and stood up, collecting her bags. Where are your keys? Luke pointed to her wrist wallet thingy. She shrugged. I walked, Annabeth said plainly. Luke cocked his head to the side. I'm driving you home, he said after a minute, putting an arm up to end her protest. Sighing in defeat, she followed him to wherever his car was. Nice seeing you, Seaweed Brain. Maybe next time we will actually plan to hang out rather than just meet you while you're crouching behind a bookshelf, Annabeth said with a laugh and wave. Percy wordlessly waved back until her figure became too small to distinguish from the others. Dang it, Percy said bitterly. I should have offered a ride.